Glad you could join me and happy Easter. I was meaning to film this video quite a while ago for Easter, but then I got sort of bogged down with work and, well, actual work. And I managed to break my tripod, so I then had to wait to get a new tripod. But here we are. It's now, for me, it's actually Easter Monday. So it is still technically Easter for me, but I know that this video won't be coming out for a few days, so it won't be Easter for you, but hopefully it'll be a nice reminder of Easter. Anyway, I'm going to be making an Easter bunny, or a rabbit's head, as I've been wanting to try and do one of these. You know, it's not my usual animal head. I have done one or two in the past previously, but, you know, it's one of these sort of Easter-themed things, so I thought I could do a little video on it for Easter, but then obviously it's now going to be coming out after Easter. So I hope you enjoy. Let's just get straight into the video. As with my other animal heads, the first step of forging out this little rabbit is going to be sectioning off the material for the ears in our case. You know, usually when I do a ram or a dragon or something, I'll section off the material for the horns. But basically all I'm going to do is, I've got this mark on the anvil here at 1.5 inches, and I'll lay the material on there and then just forge down a little step which sections off the material for the ears, and we can leave that to cool down and then cut it to separate out our two ears with an angle grinder once it's cold. And I do that rather than doing it hot, as if we do it hot, I've said this loads of times, but if we do it hot we get sort of slopey sides due to the profile of the chisel as the chisel comes in. And so to get rid of those sides, the only way that you can really do it is with a file, and so we're then removing material and losing volume in the ears, whereas if we just go down with an angle grinder we can retain some of that volume by that nice clean cut. I've taken 1.5 inches because my style of animal head is quite cartoon-like, and so if you look at cartoons they often exaggerate certain features, and so on the rabbit I'm going to be exaggerating the length of the ears, and the ears I want them to be sort of double the length of the face, and the face is usually around 1 inch or between 1 inch and 3/4 inch long, so that means the ears are going to be between 1.5 inches and 2 inches long. So if I make the isolation at 1.5 inches, then I've got a little bit of tapering and forging to do on the ears, so hopefully they'll stretch out to around 2 inches long. I've got a piece of 12mm round heating up in the fire, so that's what I'm going to use for this animal head. Let's get it out, make this isolation, leave it to cool down, then split the ears. And that's literally it. I know it seems silly to now leave this to cool down, but it is, for me personally, I think it's the best approach to retain the volume in the end, rather than now, you know, with that heat left over, I could have taken a chisel and split down those two ears, but I would then have to remove that material. So I'll just leave it to cool down and then split it with the angle grinder. I'm going to leave the ears for now and move on to actually forging out the face itself, and then we'll do the ears right at the end, because if I forge them out now they're going to be really thin, and so it's going to be really easy to burn them off when I come to forge out the rest of the face. So I'll make the first bend, which will give us the length of the face in the vise, then forge out the taper on the face, put the second bend in, which is for the swan neck, and then forge out the facial features, and then go back to the ears right at the end. So when I do the animal heads like a ram, I don't actually weld the sides, I leave them because the horns then conceal this fold that we've created. But with an animal head like this or a dragon or something else like that, you know, you're going to see this crack, this fold. So to make sure that you don't see it, I just run across it with a welder, then come back at a forge welding heat, planish the sides. If we just tried to forge weld it, we'd have to manipulate the volumes quite a lot, and then the material wouldn't be where we wanted it to be, because we've got to move the material to get rid of these seams at the sides, and then that would leave us with a funny looking head. It would be very long. Just weld the sides, we're adding volume again rather than taking away, and then come back at a forge welding heat just to make sure it's all nice and solid, and then to planish the sides to get rid of any evidence of the weld. There we go, we've got our sides welded, put the nice bit of heat back in there as well, but I'll heat this up in the forge and then taper out the face, then come back in, do the swan neck. We've got a nice tight swan neck in there, and I prefer a tight swan neck to one, you know, that's loose, as I find that it gives, again, more volume, more sort of meatiness to the head. You know, I find that it's just looks that little bit better because I do quite a small head, you know, in comparison to some, and especially when it's only just got that first fold in there, there's not much material if you do an open swan neck, whereas this gives it a bit more volume in the neck, you're sort of behind the face. I'll take a nice low heat and just dot all the facial features, then take a high heat and really cut them in nice and deep. So the nostrils I'll do first, and to be honest, I can get them in on this low heat, as they're only going to be small for this rabbit. You know, the nostrils, they don't want to be flared, they just want to be a dot, really. So that will do for the nostrils. I'll now just mark out where the mouth is going to go, and the eyes. He's got a nice happy face to him. I've got to split the ears, and I'll just run down the line there with a chisel and then forge out the ears. Oh, and dot the pupils. I've got to dot the pupils too. He's a bit bog-eyed. This pupil slipped off the side of his face, so he's a bit cross-eyed, but he's got a lazy eye. Let's call it that. He's got a bit of a character about him. I think he's going to look cool. Don't know if you can really see it very well on the camera there, but I'll show you. I'll try and get a better picture of his eyes at the end. It's just this one slightly slipped off his face, so it looks like he's got a lazy eye. Anyway, I'll move on to forging out the ears. I'll start by putting a short taper on the end of the ears and then flattening them, and after that I'll put a bit of shape into them, I think, as well. Try and get a sort of a U shape forming, and then of course get them where I want them, with a pair of scrolling tongs actually coming out of the head. I bent the ears up so they're now sort of standing on top of the head, and I'm going to use this swage, I suppose you could call it, to put a bit of a U shape into the ears. And I'm going to do it just with a punch, so we can force it down into this swage, put in a bit of a cup onto the ears, hopefully going to give them a bit more sort of shape rather than them just being flat and 2D. We can make them 3D shape, and then just get them into the place where I want them to be with a pair of scrolling tongs. I gave up on the punch because the tongs were just wanting the bar. We're letting the bar spin when I was trying to do it, so I'm using a cross piece. It seems to be working much better now. The bar's not spinning on me quite as much. Ears are looking a bit more ear-like, I suppose. I'll put it in the vise, take a new heat, and just bend them about a bit. I might do like a floppy ear, you know, where you bend one over. Yeah, let's see which design takes me fancy when I'm doing it. I think that looks pretty cool with a floppy ear. So there we are, just a nice little short project to have a go at on a Monday morning for Easter. Looking at it now, maybe the ears are a little bit too long, I don't know, perhaps they are out of proportion. I did want to exaggerate the size of the ears, as I think that's the main feature on the face. You know, the eyes, the nostrils are quite small, the mouth, yeah, they're all there, but usually on a ram or something I do eyebrows and little notches on the side of the face, so there's much more features on something like a ram. So I wanted to try and give the face something else, so creating these nice big ears to try and, because it is a simple face, so maybe the ears try to develop the design a little bit more. However, as I said, maybe I've gone a bit overboard with them. They might be a bit too long. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. Hopefully this is going to be out reasonably close to Easter. I'll try and get it edited as quickly as I can and then out to all of you. And then after this, I've got that fireside set mini-series that I talked about in, I think, the last video. Just literally, I'm going to make a fireside set so you can see the processes that I go through when making like a poker, a brush, a shovel, a pair of tongs, and a stand. And then after that, we've got the final Viking longship video. Again, hopefully you're all busy making your own shields and getting them sent to me. Don't worry if, I know I did say the 13th of April, but if you're really pushing for time and you can't get one done, just take your time, get one done, and then send it over to me, because it may be, you know, the shield might take you all a while to get them to me, if you know what I mean. And depending on where you're shipping them from, it may take you a week just to ship them to me. So don't worry if they're a little bit late. It doesn't matter. Just get one made and send it over to me. That's about it. Thank you for watching the video. I'll see you soon.